If you've ever pictured the golden age of flying, white gloves, globe logos, the word Clipper painted on a sleek aircraft, then you're already picturing Pan Am. For decades, Pan American World Airways didn't just fly routes, it defined what international air travel was supposed to be. And that's the twist. Pan Am didn't collapse because it was small or irrelevant. It collapsed because the world it helped build changed faster than it could adopt. Pan Am's story starts in October 1927 with mail and passenger service between Key West and Havana, a short hop that mattered because the US government wanted an American presence in Caribbean and Latin American aviation. Pan Am quickly became the US's main instrument for international routes, gaining political support and strategic importance as the airline expanded south. Enter Juan Trippe, the visionary who turned Pan Am into something bigger than an airline. Trippe understood that if you controlled long-distance air routes, especially over water, you controlled the future. So Pan Am invested in flying boats and pioneered overwater navigation, turning the ocean from a barrier into a runway. That Clipper identity, luxury, exploration, global reach, wasn't just branding, it was the business plan. In the 1930s, Pan Am's flying boats linked the Americas and pushed across the Pacific. The airline wasn't simply operating flights, it was building the infrastructure of flight. Island stopovers, communications, navigation procedures, and the idea that the world could be connected on a schedule. Pan Am earned major recognition for advancing trans-Pacific operations and long-range navigation. After World War II, commercial aviation exploded, and Pan Am was perfectly positioned. It wasn't primarily a domestic airline, it was the international airline Americans recognized. Pan Am helped lead the jet transition, operating new long-range jets that reshaped travel time, comfort, and route planning. Then came a symbolic moment that captured Pan Am's confidence. It became a Boeing 747 launch customer, ordering a huge number of aircraft in the mid-1960s and putting the jumbo jet into the public imagination. When Pan Am introduced early 747 service in January 1970, it felt like the future arriving with a Pan Am logo on the tail. So how does that airline die? For decades, US airline routes and fares were heavily regulated. That system favored Pan Am's role as a flagship international carrier. But in 1978, US
regulation changed the rules. Airlines gained much more freedom to set fares and routes, and competition intensified. In this new world, the winners were airlines with strong domestic networks feeding passengers into international flights, what became the hub-and-spoke era. Pan Am's problem was brutal. It was famous worldwide, but it didn't have a large domestic system to supply its long-haul routes at scale. Pan Am tried to fix that in one big move. It bought National Airlines in 1980 to gain domestic reach. But the merger was costly and messy, and instead of stabilizing the airline, it deepened Pan Am's financial stress. Once an airline starts selling its best assets to pay the bills, it's usually in a countdown. By the mid-1980s, Pan Am sold its lucrative Pacific routes, a major retreat from the global network that made it Pan Am. And then came a blow that hit more than finances, Pan Am Flight 103. On December 21, 1988, the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie killed 259 people aboard and 11 on the ground, including 190 Americans, a global tragedy that attached the Pan Am name to the era's darkest fear, international terrorism. Even when a company survives a catastrophe, it can still lose what matters most in aviation: trust, demand, and the financial stability to keep operating during shocks. By January 1991, Pan Am filed for bankruptcy protection. It attempted to survive by shrinking into a smaller airline, but the liquidation pattern continued. Major routes and assets were sold to competitors. After years of distress and asset sales, Pan Am ultimately went out of business in December 1991. Pan Am didn't die from one mistake. It died from a stock of problems that amplified each other. Regulation protected it. Deregulation exposed it. Once competition exploded, Pan Am's lack of a strong domestic feeder system became a structural weakness. The National Airlines merger was expensive and complex, adding costs when the market was getting more brutal. Asset sales reduced the airline's future earnings power, meaning every sale bought time but shrunk the engine needed to recover. Lockerbie added reputational and operational strain during an already fragile period, in an industry where confidence is everything. Pan Am's tragedy is that it invented the idea of global flight, then got trapped by the economics of the world it helped create.
It was built for an era when international travel was rare, regulated, and glamorous. And it was forced to compete in an era when flying became mass market,
price-driven, and network-dependent. In the end, Pan Am didn't just disappear. It left behind the blueprint of modern aviation: routes, aircraft ambitions, global branding, and the belief that the world could be stitched together by schedules. And maybe that's why people still watch Pan Am videos, because you're not just analyzing an airline, you're analyzing the moment the future arrived, and the cost of failing to adapt to it.